Private money, you are continually going to be meeting with people and you're going to want to borrow money. It doesn't matter how large or small of an investor you are. We always need what? Money. I would pitch to anybody who had a rusty nickel when I was starting out. If I found out they had a nickel, I was going to try to borrow that nickel at 10% interest, right? So what you do is you have to have a way, but I wasn't very strategic with my time. So I met with a lot of lenders that I just wasn't strategic. I didn't know how to get a list of all the cash buyers in my area. So what I did is anybody I met, I would pitch to, and they had like 10 grand. And I had to match this person together with another person that had 100 grand, that had another person that had 50 grand. And so I had to match all these lenders. It was a headache, as opposed to just going after people strategically and then marketing to them. So you need something, and you'll have an example, which I'll go through here a little bit later. Conrad's actually going to go through it on day 4 about how to pitch to and how to convince a private lender to loan you money. Even if you have money, do you want to use your own money? No, you don't. Because your money is like insurance. It's insurance for transactions that go awry. It's insurance for properties that you buy and hold that something happens. It's insurance for things that happen in your life. What you want to do is you always want to leverage other people's money. One of the first properties that we bought, Paul and I used credit cards to buy the house. I mean, we literally patched together multiple credit cards, a little bit of money from a couple relatives, and we bought the house. I realized even though we were paying 18% interest on these credit cards, I knew what our return on investment from that deal that we were going to sell was going to be. It was going to be a lot higher than that. I knew we could pay the interest to these credit card companies and at the same time still profit because I just calculated it right in to what I was buying that property for. Folks, you can make a lot of money very quickly, but don't use your own money if you don't have to. The only time to use your own money is when you have a lot of it, or something is like you got an opportunity that needs to close in like a week. And you're like, the only way I'm gonna be able to make 50 grand on this deal is using one of my home equity lines, right? So one of the best things you can do is if you don't have a home equity line, set it up, even though it's a little bit more difficult now than it was 3 years ago to get a home equity loan, or 4 years ago. Set one up because that's insurance for opportunities that come your way. Here's what you need to know. Every marketing campaign is different. So when you do a marketing campaign, you might get excited because you're like, oh, this is easy, I can get it out there. Well, you have to know, depending on the marketing campaign, every marketing campaign is different. Some are very easy to fulfill. Some take a lot of time to fulfill. If you're going to have somebody going out there to every home, every person in pre-foreclosure in the little sub-market that you're marketing to and dropping off packets at the door, that's a lot of time that you have to commit to getting that marketing fulfilled versus maybe just doing a direct mail campaign using a direct mail fulfillment house. It might be the difference between 2 hours and 15 hours to start scheduling. So every marketing campaign, you look at it, I'm going to talk to you, hey, this is going to take you a little longer to fulfill, or this is very easy to execute. That is going to be a strategic decision that you have to make based on your course of business. If you do this business part-time, there's some campaigns you just won't have time to implement, starting right out of the gate. There's going to be others that can be very effective that you can put into motion very quickly. What you also have to look at is the money that it takes to invest. I would never tell anybody to right out of the gate to start running radio and TV ads. You have to understand that's going to be a very expensive campaign. It can produce, but you have to be able to know that you can convert those leads. If you've never converted a lead before, well, I'm not going to advise you to go out there and drop $3 grand on a TV campaign because you may not be able to respond to those leads. The cost per lead is higher. That's why a lot of people starting out, I say, hey, relationships are great because the leads are what? Free, right? So even if you're not good at conversion yet, if you're not good at converting and putting properties under contract, it's not just enough to get a lead. So we look at every marketing campaign based on that. We also look at the quality of leads. And so we're going to go through campaigns and we're going to talk about the quality of leads and how easy or difficult that sellers and their personality types are to deal with. Great example, probate leads. You're dealing with people that have passed away. You're marketing to the heirs. Probate is a great campaign because a lot of times there's a lot of what in the property? Equity. What makes it difficult, though, is when you market to the heirs, what's difficult sometimes about probate deals? What? I don't even want to know what you said, Wayne. I don't even want to know. Multiple heirs. Too many chiefs, exactly. So when you deal with a probate property, you have to expect to get 3, 4, 5 people sometimes on the phone at once to negotiate your offer. Or don't make your offer to one heir if 3 heirs have to sign off on the deal. What I always do is I just be strategic and I say, hey, I'm prepared to make you an offer, but what I'd like to do is I'd like to get everybody on a call if they live out of the area, or I'd like to get everybody at the house at the same time so I can talk with everybody. So if anybody has any concerns, they understand. Because if you make an offer and you structure it a certain way and you bring out all these benefits and then they bring it to their brother who lives over here, what are they going to tell the brother? They're not necessarily going to say it. What they're going to say is, the guy offered 150. But they didn't hear everything else, the dialogue that we had. It's the same thing if you're working with a motivated seller and if it's a motivated seller and they have a husband and a wife, do you always want to meet with both of them? Yes. Unless it's a bitter divorce, then then you might want to do individual. I've actually been sitting with a seller, and the husband was sitting here and the wife was sitting here, and I was trying to make this off, and they were not on friendly terms. Believe me. For some reason, I was hard-headed, and I said, I need both of you guys there at the house at the same time. Big mistake. Because when they got there, it was like all hell broke loose. I mean, I'm not kidding you. The lady picked up a salt and pepper shaker and she threw it at the husband in the middle of negotiating this deal. And I thought to myself, man, this is a weird, awkward situation right now. We've got some awkward situations, believe me. But when we go through these, we're going to look at the quality leads and the type of leads. And what you're going to look at is, what is your business model and what fits what you do? If you're doing something, you're only doing this part-time, I'm going to give you some good solutions here. So we're going to go through these campaigns. I'm going to tell you, first and foremost, if you're just starting out and you don't have a budget, relationship leads, which I'll go through probably in a couple hours, are your best source.